Hello, everybody. This is Alex and Jake, and we're back for another episode of the ACB sessions. Today, we are recording episode 10 of the ACB sessions. We are so close to the end of the year, and it's quite amazing that we've come this far. We are once again winging it today. It's been, a difficult couple of weeks, I'd say. Definitely still ups and downs here and there. Loads of interesting things happening, some new developments here and there. But yeah, why don't we get started off? How are you doing today, pal?
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 Yeah, good. You ran out of breath there.
Did,
good.
yeah.
You know, as you was saying, like, things have developed. If you know when they say, "Oh, the plot thickens," kind of thing. What the fuck does that even mean? Who come up with that? But if that is true, it's like someone poured a whole big old tub of plot thickener into our lives, or into mine at least, and was like, let's just jab them with a stick and see what happens. Yeah, things have been a bit up and down. I ain't really feeling like it today. But it's kind of what we said at the start of the session. You just like kind of got to do stuff regardless, because you know life just happens whether you're ready for it or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't really give a shit about your plans or any of that, or your intentions, I suppose. Because even if you act from, a place of strength, it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to go the way you hope or think. So a lot of it is just being adaptable, going with the flow, I would say. Because like so much has happened the last, say, 6 weeks for me. I just recently took the time, literally like the last few days, and planned out when I was going to actually process that kind of stuff. I don't do any kind of therapy or have like a therapist as such or anything like that. But, I just go along with Gemini. Not that I like to rely on AI at all. That's a whole other topic. But just having an impartial, unbiased opinion and being like, right, these are the facts. These are my opinions. This is what the other person probably thinks. Can we talk through some of this and see if we can process what's happened rather than letting it build up and like fester and multiply and become something toxic. So I'd rather nip things in the bud and at least be like, right, I've talked it through, at least with myself. Maybe we can begin to let stuff go a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think you talk just to yourself. Like, even if you try and figure out with AI or with your friends, at least you're getting different sort of sources of information, data, or emotional responses when you're talking to humans.
Yeah, and I've bounced everything off of you as well, and so the sitch with everything. But yeah, just like you don't always want to keep going over the same thing. But I'm like, I like to ask Gemini or something like, is there something I'm missing? Am I maybe avoiding talking about a thing? Can we go there? And I know that I can just like hit pause at any point, and also I'm not going to affect anybody else's mental health or their capacity, because it can be a lot, like when you have a lot of things going on. Oh, how about you?
Well, first of all, I think that's really great that you're doing that. I think that it takes a lot of courage to look at yourself and be like, is there something that maybe I've done here or that I could have done differently
sure.
in this particular situation? Because the first thing that we do usually is we try and put the blame on something else, on others or situation or anything like that. But even in situations where it definitely doesn't seem like we are at fault, there's always a part of us that maybe could have, I don't know, not necessarily brought a different outcome, but could have maybe reacted in a different way in the heat of the moment, or anything like that. I mean, like we've said many times to each other, that every person is brings on a new learning situation for us, whether it's a positive experience or a negative one.
They're a teacher, right?
Yeah. Regardless of what happens, you're going to hopefully learn something out of it. Otherwise, you're going to keep having the same lessons being thrown your way, and you're never going to learn from them, and then you're always gonna be stuck in the same cycles. So I'm proud of you for sitting down and doing that.
Thanks, man.
And then another thing I wanted to mention before I forget is that sometimes you can, sit down with Gemini or talk to people, but it won't really affect your learning. It won't really change your way of thinking. Sometimes you need to actually go through situations to learn.
Yeah, totally.
So you can talk all you like, but you might not ever learn unless you go through situations, difficult things, or stuff like that.
And do you know something I kind of realised is, like, even if you can logically process stuff, your body still interprets things a certain way, or your nervous system reacts however it does. But on reflection of the situations that have happened, looking at how I've handled things, I'm like, I wouldn't change how I would have handled things. Like, I would do it exactly the same again. And I'm like, I'm confident in what I decided, even though I did the best of my abilities, doesn't mean it's going to always be received that way. But I at least know that I did right by myself and as many people as I could in whichever given situation. And so that's all you can really do. And that, I mean, if you've respected yourself by doing those things and handling things that hopefully the best version of you would handle it, then great.
That brings me actually on to something that I was going to talk about for myself, which is, so you remember that friend I talked about almost at the beginning of the year, who I had struggled with because of boundaries.
Should we call them boundaries? Okay, talk about boundaries.
We'll talk about boundaries. So boundaries had, they've basically, I think disrespect is a harsh word because they didn't mean it, I don't think, but they repeatedly ignored my messages, even though I had asked them not to do that, because it feels quite disrespectful to me, and it's something that I value quite a lot, is that someone responds to my messages, and I don't really mind what it is, as long as they react to it somehow.
You want to be acknowledged, right?
Yeah, exactly. They show me that they've thought a little bit about what I said, and then they've thought about a response. Nothing too insane. They don't need to write paragraphs or nothing. I don't have big expectations. I just want a response, an acknowledgement, like you said. And I've had, in the past year, I've told them at least 4 times. I was thinking 5, but I think it was 4. And that's just too much. I can't keep asking someone to treat me the way I want to be treated. And as much as I love them as a person and everything, I've noticed that my mindset has changed about them. And even though I do consider them to be my friend, and a close friend at that, I tend to put less effort into that relationship these days. I'm a bit slow at replying. I'm not ignoring. I'm not doing the same thing that they're doing, but and then when I do reply, I reply with less energy than I usually would. I've stopped sending them reels and memes and stuff like that, and then when they send them to me, I do react to them, but I don't really write a comment or anything anymore, because it feels pointless, because they don't do the same for me.
Sounds like it feels a little transactional, maybe.
Yeah, I can make any excuse, and I have made excuses, as you'd know. I try my best to not do that, but my character, I like to say, is that I try and see the best in people, and I've made excuses like, oh, they're just busy, or maybe they've got really bad ADHD or something and struggle with responding to messages, blah blah blah, whatever else can come out of those just spiraling thought sessions. So I mean, I don't really know where I was going to go with this, but it's just, I guess my point was that I just kind of changed my mindset about them and how I approach them. And it feels like a huge shame. And at times I feel a little bit guilty because I do want to give them my full attention and my highest form of energy and all that. But I know that I'm going to feel hurt if I do that.
Yeah. So
I need to protect myself and just not do that anymore. And then when I saw them in person a couple of days ago, it was nice. It's nice to be with them in person. But I did notice that my energy felt different around them. And I said this to you as well on the day. And it felt strange. It felt like I had less of a friendship with them, less of a bond with them, or a different bond, a different kind of bond at least.
So yeah, on the day you felt a bit of a dynamic change there.
Yeah, because I held them in such high regard at the start, and yeah, I guess I just feel different about them now, which feels strange, but I think in a way it's a good progression, like you pointed out to me as well, even though it didn't feel like it at the time.
Yeah, well, we do enable the behaviour, don't we? We still let ourselves to get hurt because, they might change, and because we want to see the best in people, we'll be like, we'll just give them another chance. We'll give them, see what they do with it, but there comes to a point where you are disrespecting yourself, and to be that honest with yourself and say I'm disrespecting myself by letting someone hurt me is a really difficult thing to comprehend and to work on, because then you've got to admit that shit, maybe my judgment isn't the best, and shit, maybe I've really not been looking after myself the way I thought I was. It's a big old process, and I've definitely had that myself as well, but I've seen it in you, like that kind of change, and how you've, especially in this particular situation where you've got like back and forth with how you have regarded this person. But I think it's also the changes that you go through, isn't it? And like I said to you before, and how we reframed it was, it's not just this person acting the way they are, it's how the part of you in yourself that you also see in them that maybe isn't there anymore, and that kind of goes to die in a way. And so I think in a way what you're experiencing is probably grief for what something could have been, what you maybe reality. Maybe we're just out of touch. And to be like, I've had a skewed view of this, and that's the problem, not just their actions. And when it comes down to someone's not meeting my needs, the way I want them to meet it, for example, sending reels or sending replies or acknowledgements, maybe that's just the way they are. They're just not your person or your kind of people, which sucks because, you can still love these people, but love on its own isn't enough. And you find that even in, if we take it to an extreme, you can find like people who have fully like either emotionally or even physically abusive relationships, and there can still be a lot of love there. And you see it in like films where they dramatize these kind of things. It's like, why are you making me act this way to you? And you're like, that's not reality, that's just like manipulation almost. Well, exactly, not almost, it is. And then how much do we pull the wool over our own eyes, You don't want to kick yourself in the balls while life is already trying to do it for you. Tell me some good news.
I've got some good news to share. So, how one of my main goals for this year was to move into my own place and rent it. Well, I've made a bit of a drastic change. I've now decided that I'm going to be buying a flat, not renting one. So, yeah, I know it's a bit of a shock. No, I've already told you. But I think... yeah, thank you. That was the appropriate reaction I was looking for.
Insert dun.
Yeah, nice. And I just thought to myself, I'm in the best place to be saving up. I'm still living with my parents after moving out of London. I'm not paying any rent at the moment, which I'm very lucky that they haven't charged me anything yet.
Oh my god, imagine you get a bill when you go to leave. And it was £100 a night. Oh fuck.
Yeah. Food, water, electricity,
the air you fucking breathe.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. Nah. To be fair, they're not getting a terrible deal out of it. I take the dogs out for walks, I cook food, I buy groceries, not massively often, but fairly regularly. I help clean every week. You know, I think it's fair.
Good boy.
Yeah, it's not like I do nothing.
You're a housemaid. Lovely.
Yeah, mate. I think I'd be a good house husband. There's no concrete date for me to move out. I just need enough money, essentially, to get that first payment down for the mortgage.
Hello, doggo.
And as soon as I have that, I think I can set the wheels in motion. In the meantime, I need to basically have my entire budget down and know exactly what I'm going to be buying, including furniture and all sorts of stuff. And I need to know how much I'm going to be borrowing from my parents if I do as well, which it's looking likely for the mortgage. I should be fine because I've got a full-time job and a salary. It's a teacher position, so I think...
which you're doing really well at, by the way.
Thank you. We'll talk about that in a second because
I want to hear about it.
Cool stuff happening there. But yeah, essentially, I'd say that the goal is by middle next year. Yeah. Maybe. I think that's a good target to have.
So you're giving yourself like 8 months?
Yeah, about 8 months to save up and see if I can go for it then. See how much I've got then.
Sweet.
Yeah. Which is obviously different to the original goal I had in mind, which was to move out and have my own place and rent instead of buying. But I hadn't really thought about buying before. But I'd had a chat with my parents and some mates and yourself as well. And
some mates and yourself.
Yeah.
Just like not in any.
No,
you're saying I'm not one of your parents? God damn it.
I think it's a good move. I think that it would be good to have a property and then be able to sell it later on or rent it out or do whatever with it.
Or remortgage it, like we said. Like if you want to do something, go somewhere else. Or you got opportunities and avenues. So wicked, mate.
And just quickly in reflection, also it feels a bit mental that I'm doing that, because if you had told me that I was going to do that a bit more than a year ago, I would have called you insane. So I think that's good progression right there.
Yeah, of course it is. Look at you
doing crazy shit.
Sweet as. And if you're happy to tell us about the exciting stuff going on with the job as a music tutor and some stories there.
Yeah, of course. So tomorrow is the first day back after half term. I know we are recording this a bit later, but might as well be transparent about it. And there's 4 weeks left now until the first Christmas concert in one of my schools, and that will be the first of 8 concerts within the space of 2 weeks. So it's going to be quite intense, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a bit nervous about it because I'm going to have to basically be like a presenter, just talking to the schools and the parents in attendance, and I want the kids to perform really well, and I want everyone to be really impressed, because I have been super impressed with so many of the kids. All of them done really well and progressed so much in the past couple of months that I've known them, and I think it's just going to be an amazing experience for all. I think the parents are going to be quite proud, and I just want them to see their kids the way that I see them, essentially. So I think that's a nice bit to sort of report back on here. And yeah, I think I can confidently say that this job is probably the best thing that's happened to me in a long time, just because of
I'll just leave then.
Yeah.
I am the long time.
Yeah, unfortunately you are. That's something to look forward to, is just doing those concerts and having the parents there and witness their kids being amazing. So that's cool. And then there's the Christmas break, and then we start again in the new term, new songs, new everything, and the cycle begins again. But yeah, I think I've really got something good here, and I'm looking forward to what comes next with the job, whether there's any sort of progression available, which I know there is. I don't fully know where or what I would be doing, or if there's maybe a chance to have more of a salary, or more of a wage, or anything like that. But that's something to think about in the future. Right now I just need to focus on doing these concerts and just trying to teach as best as I can in the next 4 to 6, 7 weeks. Yeah,
I mean, you're going to be perfectly fine. Just stay consistent as you've been doing.
Yeah,
you're going to be golden.
Yeah, man. So that's the news from me really at the moment. I think all the updates, it's quite big things happening for me, which is great. And I'm trying to stay grounded and just keep working on myself. And it's easy to have all these big plans and thoughts and everything and ideas and get lost in them, but if I just keep working on myself now, keep going to the gym, keep trying to eat as good as I can, that's something that just grounds me and keeps me in the present. So I think that's something I just need to keep working on.
Yeah, of course. Sweet as.
Yeah. You've been doing quite well with your weight loss journey. I think you've smashed your goal, and you've set yourself a new target now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for the next target. I mean, it's I've maintained myself. I mean, I'm still like constantly a good 20 kilos down, which is kind of mad. Because actually, I have a weighted blanket for my bed now, which is 8 kilos, and not that I sleep with that whole weight on me all at once, because it's obviously like spread out across the bed. But when I'm like, I've lost 2.5 times the weight of that thing, that I'm no longer carrying around, I'm like, what the hell? And it is like physically, mentally, how much weight you can let go of that was just like unnecessary or like keeping you down. I'm like, if I can just keep doing the physical and mental reps, then we're on a good path,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to get back onto maybe tracking things a bit better. But at the same time, I kind of know what I should and shouldn't eat. I know, and like even if I am eating whatever it is, maybe I'll weigh stuff, maybe just to get like a little bit of a portion, but I don't need to write down all the calories because I can have a pretty accurate, educated guess, and I know how much activity versus input versus output that is happening, basically. So yeah, and that's how I've like maintained pretty consistent, and like I'm still taking my weight every day as well, and like it never really fluctuates more than a kilo, which is about right. I mean, because your body weight can change around a kilo, which is just over 2 pounds any given day.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, this is what I told you at the start when you were starting off as well, that after a certain amount of time, you just know what to eat, how much to eat, how exercise affects your body. You learn about yourself, and I think that's the beauty in this tracking takes place, because you see the numbers, and then the numbers kind of make sense with how you're feeling. You can combine those two together. Yeah, and you've done that amazingly, man. You've done that so well. And honestly, I've not been tracking or taking my weight recently, just because I'm focusing on other things.
But you've still been pretty stable. Yeah, exactly.
My weight at the moment is 76 kilos, and it has been for the past couple of months. Yeah, and it's a healthy weight for me, for my size, my height.
Yeah, for your height.
Obviously the goal eventually is to gain weight, and especially add more muscle mass and everything. But honestly, I've been having some shoulder issues, which I've talked to you about as well. And I saw a physio, and they gave me some shoulder exercises to do. So we're going to keep working on those, and then fingers crossed, my shoulder starts feeling all right again, and I can start lifting heavier weights again.
Heavy. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, but don't rush it, eh?
No.
Sweet.
It takes its time, exactly.
Yeah, I also need to get back onto weights and that sort of stuff, and even just more consistent walks, in fact. I remember there was something at the start of these sessions which I said I was going to do, which was to edit relationships in a timely manner, kind of thing. I definitely feel like even though I started off doing that myself, that some situations have come up in the last couple of months where I've had no choice but to have to let things and people go, which is really difficult, because like when you essentially give yourself another chance to, be it find a person or trust whatever, or a situation, whatever, like not all things like follow through in the way that you was either led to believe or promised or whatever. So yeah, the minute I'm feeling like a little numb, and I've had to just go with the flow because things have been like so out of my control, that I'm like, if I try and just grab control at the minute, it's not going to happen. It's like trying to stop your car or whatever, but all you got is the clutch all the way down the whole time. You can't get into gear, you can't brake properly. Do you know what I mean? You're just in flux, like everything's up in the air. It's the trying to catch water kind of thing. And I try and act like the Bruce Lee quote, and he says, "Be water, my friend." I don't know if you know the quote at all. Yeah. But he's like, water can flow or crash. But if there's a teacup, the water becomes the teacup. It flows throughout, and if you try and resist, that's when things can get a bit dicey. But also, there's two sides to it. Yes, you want to go with the flow, but there's a fine balance between the notions of letting go, because you want to be able to let go and show that emotional maturity and intelligence of being able to let things go or not affect you. But then at the same time, you're like, why do I need to let things go all the time? Can I, like, I don't want to celebrate too early, but like, when the fuck should I ever celebrate anything? And it's a strange one, and I'm just like, you got to kind of take the good bits for the good bits. And for example, like, I had my birthday recently, and that was a big deal for me to like celebrate things. And there was someone who I got along with really well there that, a few weeks after, it didn't all turn out so rosy, unfortunately. And even when I was talking through this with like family, friends, or even with Gemini, just saying about how that birthday bash kind of was good and everything, and they were saying, even Gemini was like, this nice time has kind of been tainted because such and such person acted the way they did. And I was like, actually, that time can just remain a good time. I don't have to change it. I can just take it for what it was. It was a nice time with some nice people at the time. And it's the same as if you take like any relationship or whatever, just because something ended maybe a bit sour or not on the best note, it doesn't discount that, the good times were still good. And
of course, you need to cherish those no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe they were different if we're still talking about the same person in two different times. They would have been a different person at the time where you have that nice memory.
Right.
And you can cherish that version of that person still.
For sure.
Even though they no longer exist.
Right. And it's tempting to... I don't know what the opposite of romanticize is. I don't know. But
demonize?
Demonize. I guess it's kind of like tempting to like paint the experiences you've had with someone of the same brush just because of how things maybe ended or how the dynamic is between two people. But why ruin yourself a good memory there? Just take it for what it was and add it to your collection of part of the good old days. And just crack on. Anyway, so I know I'm not feeling it at the minute, but I'm also at the point where I know any kind of feeling is temporary. Everything does all like keep going in cycles or circles or whatever, and all you can do is do your best to like learn from whichever experience, and see how you fare next time round, because things will come round again. And if you find yourself in a similar situation, then maybe you really didn't learn from the mistake, maybe you didn't process things enough,
exactly.
And that you do, unfortunately, to a degree, you do get what you think you deserve, your worth, which is why it's sorry, man, go on.
It's the law of attraction, isn't it?
In a way, I mean, the law of attraction's a bit of a funny one for me, because there's this is a bit of a side, a bit of a tangent, but the law of attraction I used to like, but then if you see the other side of what it is, I can see the holes in the idea of it, and I would liken it to something like praying, for example. I'm not a religious person, but I don't like the idea of, if you pray for something, good or whatever, and it happens, then great. You put your energy in the right place and you succeeded. However, if you pray for something good and it doesn't happen and the outcome is terrible because you really had no control over it in the first place, you didn't want it hard enough. You didn't believe it enough. Your lack of conviction or whatever made this turn out the way it did. And so that kind of thing where it's dependent on how much you believe is a bit problematic for me. So this is why I'm like, all I can really do is, and all anyone can do is the best you can with the knowledge you have or had at the time, and take it like that, really. I think I agree with you. I think there's different ways of thinking. If we're going back to the law of attraction, I think that it's definitely harsh to say to someone, or to yourself especially, I didn't believe hard enough, or I didn't want it enough. That's definitely something that will bring you down more than it will uplift you. Yeah.
But there is some truth to it, I think, where maybe you didn't reach out to enough people in trying to get your idea out there, or there's always stuff that could have been done, but then at what point is that just becoming destructive?
Yeah, well, possibly. But you could think of it maybe like, and I do believe it's the case, that it's difficult to love someone who doesn't love themselves. Maybe they don't feel worth it, and so no matter how much you tell them or how much you love them, if they're not able to receive that kind of love, that is that's a struggle. So, and you can end up spinning your wheels a bit. So a lot of the work with attracting situations or anything of that nature, I would say a lot of it is an internal work to be done. And if you don't have the emotional intelligence and courage to do it, because it is really difficult and it does take a lot of conscious effort, then you're going to keep struggling. And at that point, people play the victim card, or why is it always me? Nothing ever good happens to me. And I'm like,
me against the world.
Yeah, it's like, how about if you got in touch with yourself a bit more? It could be all of me against the world. Do you know what I mean? Apes together strong. It's that kind of thing. So there's a whole bunch of work to always be done, and everyone's a work in progress. And I think you should always stay a student of life. And if you think you know it all, or you feel like you've made it, that's exactly when you haven't.
When you fail.
Yeah. And like, I know that I don't know it all, and the more that I learn, the more I realise I could never know it all. And so it's a good humbling in a way.
That's the beauty of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know it all, but you know some things, and those things are useful, and other people will probably not know what you know, and that's how you contribute to society. If that's something you want to do.
Sure. But if you get yourself to that kind of point, and you're around like-minded people, and everyone's trying to build each other up, kind of thing, you can make something that is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And that's fucking magic.
Yeah. That's where humanity wins.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so thank you everybody for joining us for October. We are, in the name of honesty, actually recording this on the 2nd of November. But yes, we're making it happen, so we'll try and get everything done. So we've actually recorded everything within this side of the year.
Yes,
and it will happen.
It's
just going to be.
It's been
a few weeks are going to be
hectic,
squished. So,
yes.
But we're going to make it happen. We've been real consistent so far, even though the things have been up and down for each of us at different points. It'll be really interesting to see, like, maybe a brief summary compilation of all of these 12 months that we're going to do.
I'll have a chat with the editor, see what they can come up with.
Nice. I've heard he's a very sexy boy.
Uh-huh.
My sweet cheese, my good time boy.
Well, thank you so much for joining me in today's episode, Jake. As always, it's been a pleasure to talk
My
to
pleasure.
you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, man. And we shall see you on the next one, which will be the second to last episode of the year, which is a bit mental because we've done, by that point, we will have done 11 episodes.
That makes sense because there's 12 months in a year. Maths.
Yeah, maths. I can do maths. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope everyone has enjoyed watching this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.